God's chosen ones. Hear me now, because the 21st of September is not a date you can take lightly. What is coming has the power to undo every step forward you've fought so hard to claim. Do not be fooled. This is not coincidence. This is not noise. This is the kind of moment where destinies shift, where what you ignore could destroy you, and what you discern could save you. If you've ever felt the heaviness in the air, the strange dreams, the sudden urge to distance yourself from certain people, understand this. Those are not accidents. They are warnings. And if you let your guard down on the 21st of September, you may lose more than you realize. But if you rise, if you stay alert, you will walk into the victory that no enemy can steal. To everyone who has stood with me, even supporting this channel through super thanks, I want to thank you from the depths of my heart. Your faithfulness is not forgotten. And if your spirit already senses this truth, type 777 the comments right now. As your act of defiance against the enemy and your alignment with heaven, because what is about to be revealed may be the difference between breakthrough and breakdown. God's chosen ones. What happens on the 21st of September could undo the victory you just claimed. You cannot step into this day carrying the same mindset, the same attachments, or the same illusions that weighed you down yesterday. To cling to what is broken is to build on sand. And Jesus himself warned in Matthew 7:26, "Everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand." The 21st of September exposes whether your foundation is stone or dust. That is why this message is not for everyone. It reaches only those who are truly chosen, those who have walked through fire and have not been consumed, those who know that transformation is rarely gentle. Each choice you make today will echo far beyond a single hour. It will ripple into your destiny. Have you noticed how one small compromise often opens the door to greater collapse? This is the weight of the moment now, before you. This day will not arrive in grandeur, but in subtleties, small tremors in the soul. The spiritual test may come disguised as a sudden argument that cuts deeper than expected, a delay that gnaws at your endurance, or an old memory that returns uninvited to see if you will still bow to its chains. Nothing today is random. Every interruption, every silence, every ripple in your spirit carries meaning. Do you recognize it? Can you feel the divine hand orchestrating even the smallest disturbance? Not to punish you, but to refine you for the next chapter. Sometimes heaven does not speak with thunder. Sometimes it whispers through inconvenience, through the patience you thought you had lost. And yet, the truth is, only those with awakened eyes will even sense the shift. The blind will call it coincidence. But the chosen know better. They sense that eternity leans close in moments like these. The scriptures remind us in Romans 8:28, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." What feels like a setback may, in truth, be the chiseling away of excess stone so that the true design can emerge. But here is the danger. Many will live this day as though it were no different than any other. They will gossip idly, laugh carelessly, drown themselves in distractions, or numb their spirits with noise. They will pass through the 21st of September unchanged. But you chosen, one cannot afford to be blind to the signs. For every distraction embraced is an appointment with destiny delayed. Does it not stir something in you to know that while others waste their hours, heaven is still watching how you spend yours? One day, These hidden tests will be revealed as the very battlegrounds where your crown was secured. History echoes this truth. Winston Churchill, one of the most unrelenting leaders of the 20th century, once said, "Kites rise highest against the wind, not with it. Resistance reveals strength." In the same way, your resistance today is not proof of abandonment, but evidence of divine elevation. Yet, do you see how few recognize this? How many run from the wind instead of rising against it? The chosen are not spared the storm, they are sharpened by it. What if the very opposition you dread is the scaffolding heaven is using to elevate you? Without the pressure of the wind, the kite never ascends. Without the weight of trial, the soul never grows wings. And beware, for there are examples of those who ignored such moments. Think of King Saul, who once carried the anointing, but surrendered it because he clung to his own fear and pride rather than obedience. His downfall was not sudden, it began with small compromises, with disobedience disguised as strategy. 1 Samuel 15:23 records God's judgment. Rebellion is like the sin of divination, and arrogance like the evil of idolatry. Saul's legacy reminds us of what happens when the chosen treat divine testing as trivial. The crown slipped, and the kingdom was torn away. How many today risk the same fate because they treat conviction as inconvenience and warnings as mere noise? What crown might be torn from you if you disregard what God is doing today? And what generations might suffer because you chose ease over obedience? The 21st of September is more than a date. It is a spiritual filter, a refining fire hidden in ordinary hours. The blind will pass by unchanged, but the awakened will hear the whispers of heaven in patterns and synchronicities, in moments that others call coincidence, but you recognize as guidance. Do you notice how the air feels heavier when certain people step close? The people nearest to you may suddenly feel like weights, testing whether you will carry their burdens or stand firm in your own assignment. This, too, is a sign. Proverbs 27:17 declares, "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." Even the tension in relationships is being used to sharpen your discernment. Could it be that the very people irritating you today are instruments of your refinement? Perhaps they are not hindrances, but chisels shaping you into the vessel heaven requires. The question is, will you listen, or will you, like the crowd, move through the day, unseeing, untouched, unchanged? The prophet Ezekiel heard the Lord say in Ezekiel 3:10, "Son of man, listen carefully and take to heart all the words I speak to you." What if today is your Ezekiel moment, when God whispers something that demands not just hearing, but engraving into your very being? To ignore such a moment is to close the door that heaven has opened with its own hand. To heed it is to step into alignment with a path that was carved for you long before your first breath. How many victories are lost simply because we treated sacred whispers as background noise? There is a solemnity here, but also a calling. This is not a warning to frighten, but to awaken. Chosen one, rise from slumber. Refuse to carry yesterday's illusions into this new hour. Walk forward as if the next step is holy ground, because it is. Joshua 1-9 still thunders into the present. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Do not shrink back as though you were ordinary. You were not placed here by accident. Your breath is proof of heaven's intentionality. Rise, for the day is waiting for your obedience. Rise, for your victory is still being written. Rise, for your crown is not yet finished. and heaven will not allow you to miss it unless you choose to surrender it yourself. Friends, family, or acquaintances may act in ways that stir doubt, irritation, or even betrayal. Do not be shocked, for Luke 8:17 declares, "For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open." This is the day masks begin to fall, and truth demands to be seen. Souls around you are being tested just as you are, in their words, in their sudden changes of tone, in their silences. You will glimpse their true alignment. Some are carriers of light, quietly strengthening you. Others, though they smile, carry shadows they have not yet confronted. And just as the tree reveals its roots in the storm, so people reveal their spirits in the winds of trial. Can you discern the difference when it happens? Your task is not to judge them, but to remain rooted in your own path. For a tree that constantly bends toward every gust never grows deep roots. This is why distance is so crucial today. Not every conversation is meant for your ears. Not every atmosphere is meant to enter your spirit. Psalm 46:10 whispers, "Be still and know that I am God." On September 21. Silence is not weakness, it becomes your shield. Solitude is not loneliness, it becomes your fortress. Even rivers cut through mountains not with violence, but with the quiet persistence of their flow. By stepping back, you are not turning cold. You are safeguarding the fire that God has placed within you. In that retreat, strength is refined. Remember, what you allow into your inner atmosphere will either strengthen or weaken you. Winners know when to withdraw, so they can hear the higher voice. And what is that message? It is the truth that you are stepping into a timeline where clarity, direction, and divine favor await. But these are not gifts scattered carelessly. They are entrusted to those who choose wisely. Have you noticed how even the eagle does not fly with every bird, but rises alone to meet the wind at higher altitudes? The 21st of September calls you to the same. Isaiah 40:31 reminds us, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles." Today, distractions are traps. They may come disguised as friendly invitations, as sudden phone calls, as conversations that seem harmless, yet within, your spirit will feel the subtle nudge saying, "This is not where I belong." Trust that whisper. It is not weakness. It is divine navigation. Shakespeare's Hamlet once declared, "Give me that man that is not passion's slave, and I will wear him in my heart's core." To master distraction is to master destiny. Do not be seduced by the noise of the moment. To waste the hour is to betray the gift that heaven is offering today. And is it not true that when a shepherd loses sight of his flock, the wolves never delay? The 21st of September also carries with it a mirror effect. Whatever you magnify today will multiply. If you dwell on negativity, it will echo louder. If you cling to past wounds, they will reappear with heavier chains. But if you choose faith, gratitude, and alignment, you will unlock doors that seemed sealed forever. Philippians 4:8 instructs, "Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, think about such things." Winners live by this principle. Energy flows where attention goes, like sunlight feeding a hidden seed in the soil. Whatever you dwell upon grows quietly but powerfully until it defines your harvest. Will you feed weeds, or will you cultivate gardens of promise? Chosen one, The weight of this day is heavy because the reward is greater. To treat it as ordinary is to squander the extraordinary. Rise now, with clarity in your mind and fire in your spirit. Withdraw from the noise, and listen for the voice that speaks, not in thunder, but in whispers. Stand. For this is not just another date, it is the threshing floor of your future. The victory you claimed is not secured by yesterday's battle, it is preserved by today's discipline. Guard it, and you will walk into favor no enemy can undo. That is why you were drawn here, not by accident, but by orchestration, so that your attention could be redirected toward what builds you rather than what breaks you. The very atmosphere of this day feels charged, as though creation itself hums with hidden resonance. It is like standing within the nave of a cathedral, where every arch and column is designed to lift the human gaze upward. The 21st of September is an architecture of time designed to lift your soul toward heaven. Your dreams may have felt more vivid, your thoughts sharper, your emotions more intense. This is not imagination. It is alignment, a frequency shift pulling you toward unseen dimensions. Isaías 30, 21 declares, whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you, saying, "This is the way, walk in it." Have you noticed how that whisper has grown louder in these hours? You may encounter repeating numbers, overhear words in conversations that pierce you as though they were meant for you alone, or feel sudden urges to journal, to pray, to lift your heart in meditation. These are not random sparks of thought. They are signs that the veil has grown thin, that your spirit is being tuned like an instrument to divine vibration. In physics, resonance occurs when a system vibrates at a higher amplitude because it is struck at its natural frequency. Today, heaven is striking you at your true frequency, but with heightened awareness comes heightened temptation. Just as light attracts insects, awakening attracts distractions. Some may try to pull you back into arguments, into drama, into cycles you thought you had escaped. The question is, will you mistake the test for a trap? This is the true measure of winners, not how loud they can roar, but how firmly they can remain still when provoked. Can you resist the urge to lash back when insulted? Can you choose silence when every part of you wants to shout? Can you walk away, not because you are weak, but because you are wise? Proverbs 17:27 says, "The one who has knowledge uses words with restraint, and whoever has understanding is even-tempered." Silence here is not absence of strength, but the presence of self-mastery. Like the eye of a hurricane, stillness in you becomes the calm that defines the storm. By choosing solitude, you are not rejecting people. You are announcing to heaven that you treasure alignment more than approval. In psychology, this is the discipline of delayed gratification, the ability to sacrifice momentary comfort for eternal reward. And in that posture of restraint, revelations arrive, insights, visions, and truths flow into the soul that refuses to be drowned by noise. Habakkuk 2 reminds us, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it. Have you considered that your urge to write, to capture, to reflect, is God ensuring you do not lose what he is revealing? This day is not about mere survival. It is preparation. A boxer does not train only for the fight in front of him, but for the unseen opponent he may one day face. The 21st of September is your training ground, sharpening your reflexes, testing your patience, refining your discernment. The choices you make today ripple outward like concentric waves on water, touching opportunities, relationships, and breakthroughs that are waiting beyond the horizon. Winners know this. They treat a single day with the reverence of a sacred ceremony. They do not waste hours because they understand that eternity is hidden in moments. In modern history, we see this truth. The Italian painter Caravaggio, despite his troubled life, created art that carried a haunting intensity because he refused to dilute reality. He once said through his works that light is never appreciated without the sharpness of shadow. In the same way, your clarity today will only emerge when you refuse to be consumed by lesser distractions. John 8:12 echoes this truth. I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. What if today is your canvas, waiting for you to choose what will be illuminated and what must remain in shadow? And so, chosen one, hear this final call. The very fact that you are still here, listening, proves that you are already separating yourself from the blind. James Uxi, Kaksitoista promises. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. Do not walk as one uncertain. Do not speak as one confused. Rise with certainty. Guard your atmosphere with the fierceness of a warrior and the reverence of a priest. The 21st of September is not just another date. It is the scaffolding of your future. Build carefully, for the crown is near. Rise, for heaven is watching. Rise, because your victory is being written in silence. Rise, because no one else can carry the assignment placed in your hands. You are acknowledging that this day carries meaning beyond the surface, that there is something sacred in the air that ordinary eyes will never perceive. The very act of leaning in to listen marks you as different, as one who is willing to step into the alignment heaven has already designed for you. Jeremiah 29:11 reminds us, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." But those plans cannot unfold if you remain surrounded by noise that drowns his whisper. Not everyone can come with you into the next season of your life. Some connections are seasonal, designed only to teach you lessons before fading away. Some people are scaffolding, meant to hold you for a time, but never to remain. How many today cling to scaffolds as if they were foundations? And today will make that clear. The hand of God is separating light from shadow, purpose from distraction. Winners are not afraid to walk alone for a time, because they know that solitude with God is far richer than company wrapped in confusion. Psalm 25:14 says, "The Lord confides in those who fear him. He makes his covenant known to them." Could it be that your very isolation is the chamber where the covenant is revealed? The 21st of September is not only about avoiding toxic company, it is about discovering the deeper layers of yourself, the parts that surface only when the noise has fallen silent. You will come to see that walking alone is never truly loneliness. It is walking hand in hand with the unseen. On this day, the testing runs deeper than relationships. The universe is probing your patience, your discipline, your ability to hear beneath the surface. James 1:4 declares, "Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." Winners know that protection is not just physical, it is spiritual. And if you were drawn to this very moment, it means heaven is calling you to guard your inner temple like never before. What happens when you finally treat your heart like a sanctuary, instead of a hallway open to anyone passing through? Every decision you make becomes an act of worship. Every silence you embrace becomes a shield forged by God himself. Think of this day as a mirror placed directly before your soul. Every thought, every impulse, every surge of emotion is reflecting the hidden corners of who you are and what is still being refined. Many people run from this mirror because they fear what they might see. But chosen ones do not flee. 2 Corinthians 3:18 reminds us. And we all, who with unveiled faces contemplate the Lord's glory, are being transformed into His image with ever-increasing glory. The question is, will you have the courage to face what is revealed? Or will you cover the mirror and pretend the cracks do not exist? In history, we see both sides of this truth. The German theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who stood against the Nazi regime, once wrote, "Silence in the face of evil is itself evil." He knew that listening to the inner conviction of God was more important than bowing to external pressure. His solitude with God became his strength, and his witness still inspires generations. Yet, on the other hand, think of Judas Iscariot, who walked beside Christ but clung to greed more than to grace. John 12:6 records his heart. He was a thief, as keeper of the money bag. He used to help himself to what was put into it. Judas could not face the mirror of truth, and his refusal ended in destruction. Which path will your reflection lead you to today, Bonhoeffer's courage or Judas's collapse? Silence will feel heavier today, almost sacred, and that is no accident. Heaven is asking you to pause, to slow down, to hear the whispers usually buried under daily chaos, the intuition you have been ignoring, the voice you have been brushing aside, will rise today until it can no longer be dismissed. This is your moment to honor the weight of silence, to recognize it not as emptiness, but as invitation. Winners do not fear stillness, they embrace it, because they know stillness is where heaven's strategies are whispered. And so, chosen one, hear this call with all its urgency. You are not here by coincidence. You are being refined for the season ahead. Revelation 3:11 warns, "I am coming soon. Hold on to what you have, so that no one will take your crown." Guard your atmosphere with vigilance. Release the hands that hold you back. Protect the sanctuary of your inner life. For today is not just another day, it is a threshold. Cross it with courage. Rise, because the crown is within reach. Rise, because you are not ordinary. Rise, because your victory depends on it. And if you honor this moment, if you treat it not as ordinary, but as sacred, you will uncover answers to questions you have carried like hidden weights for months, maybe even for years. Signs will not be far. They will crowd around you if your eyes remain open. You may glance at the clock and see repeating numbers, whispering to your soul that heaven's alignment is near. You may step outside and overhear a phrase from a stranger that pierces through the noise like an arrow, words that feel as though they were composed specifically for your heart. Isaiah 55, 11 assures us, "So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire." Could it be that the words waiting for you today are not coincidence at all, but the living echo of God's purpose for finding you? At times, you may be drawn to open a book, a scripture, or even stumble upon this very message, realizing that the exact words you needed have been prepared long before you arrived. This is how the divine often speaks, not through thunder or fire, but through alignment so subtle that only the awake will perceive it. A river carving stone does not announce itself with noise, yet its work is undeniable. But be warned, not every sign will comfort you. Some will shine a light, not on what should begin, but on what must end. How many of us pray for clarity, yet run when the answer is to release what we cling to most. You may suddenly see with piercing clarity that a relationship no longer serves your growth, even if others think it does. You may feel the heavy chains of a habit that has quietly drained your spirit for years. You may be stirred to step away from an opportunity that looks good in the eyes of man, but feels wrong in the chambers of your soul. This is the test. Matthew 7:16 reminds us, "By their fruit you will recognize them. Will you choose fruit that nourishes eternity? Or will you settle for leaves that wither overnight?" Winners do not chase what feels safe. They pursue what is aligned, even if it means walking away from what others celebrate. And alignment almost always requires letting go. Patience will become your fiercest ally on this day. You may feel the itch to act, to rush, to explain. But the power lies not in haste, but in restraint. Consider the tree in winter. It appears barren, yet it is conserving strength for a new season. Silence is the soil where revelation takes root. Do not reveal every thought. Do not justify every step. Ecclesiastes 3:7 teaches, "A time to be silent and a time to speak." Could today be the hour where silence speaks louder than 1,000 explanations? Remember, silence disorients the enemy and strengthens your spirit. By holding your tongue, you give space for divine timing to work on your behalf. Winners know that not every battlefield demands their sword. Some battles are won by standing still while heaven fights for them. Exodus 14:14 thunders, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." And have you noticed how the ocean resists no wave, yet swallows every storm? So too, restraint is not weakness, but mastery. But beware, the old energy will try to resurface, shadows of past pain, echoes of old offenses. Waves of forgotten temptations may attempt to reclaim ground, like weeds sprouting after rain. They test whether you will pluck them out or let them choke your harvest. This is why vigilance matters. Winners do not simply recognize signs, they respond with faith. As Dante once wrote in the Divine Comedy, "In the middle of the journey of our life, I came to myself within a dark wood where the straight way was lost." Even the greatest souls have faced dark forests. But chosen ones do not remain lost. They follow the faint path of light until dawn breaks. Chosen one. The 21st of September is not a casual date. It is a furnace where impurities burn, a mirror where truths emerge, a threshold where crowns are decided. Révélation 2:10 promises, "Be faithful, even to the point of death, and I will give you life as your victor's crown." This day asks, will you rush and crumble, or will you restrain and rise? Stand firm, guard your silence, honor the whispers. For this is not just preparation, it is prophecy unfolding in real time. Rise, because heaven is testing your patience. Rise, because silence today is strength tomorrow. Rise, because your crown waits on the other side of restraint. Past arguments, painful memories, and regrets may come knocking today. Do not fear them. They are not here to haunt you, but to present themselves one last time for release. Isaiah 43:18 says, "Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past." These echoes from yesterday are not curses. They are signals that heaven is giving you another chance to step into freedom, like old scaffolding being removed from a cathedral once the structure is complete. These burdens are no longer necessary for the architecture of your destiny. Have you noticed how even the strongest buildings must shed their temporary supports before they can stand in full glory? Winners treat these moments with reverence. They do not numb themselves with shallow distractions. They face the discomfort, sit with it, and then release it, knowing that only by releasing can they move forward lighter than before. This is why solitude is essential on the 21st of September, in the noise of crowds. These subtle whispers are lost. In the chatter of endless conversations, divine guidance is drowned, but in stillness, clarity emerges. Salm 62, uno declares, "Truly my soul finds rest in God. My salvation comes from Him." Stillness is not inactivity. It is the frequency where revelation can resonate. Just as in physics, a tuning fork vibrates only when struck at its precise frequency, so too, your spirit resonates with God's voice when silence allows it to be heard. You will see signs with sharper clarity. You will feel the shifts in your atmosphere and recognize what is truly being asked of you. The 21st of September is not only about personal release, but about protection of your spirit, your purpose, and your destiny. Ephesians 6:12 reminds us, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world." Sometimes these opposing energies arrive cloaked in ordinary forms. A friend who pulls you into distraction, a family member stirring unnecessary drama, or a stranger provoking conflict. Are these coincidences, or are they carefully placed obstacles designed to test your vigilance? Winners recognize these patterns instantly. They know that not every invitation deserves acceptance, and not every battle deserves their energy. Instead of reacting, they turn inward. They journal, giving language to what heaven is teaching. They meditate, allowing their hearts to be recalibrated. They pray, releasing their burdens into God's hands. They breathe deeply, knowing even the act of inhaling and exhaling is participation in divine rhythm. And in those moments, they ask the deeper questions: what is the lesson here? What am I meant to release? What am I meant to carry forward? James 1-5 promises, "If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you." Modern history affirms this principle. The psychologist Viktor Frankl, a survivor of the Holocaust, once wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." He discovered in the darkest conditions that freedom begins not with external change, but with internal release. His testimony echoes the truth of today, that even when shadows rise, transformation is possible if the inner man remains aligned. Have you considered that your past pains are not shackles, but teachers waiting to hand you the keys of release? At the same time, notice how nature confirms it. A snake sheds its skin when it outgrows it. A tree lets go of dead branches so that new growth may rise. Even the ocean discards its tides daily, cleansing and returning with fresh waves. Why should your soul be any different? If creation itself embraces cycles of release, what makes you think you can enter the next season while clinging to yesterday's debris? And here lies the hidden truth. The 21st of September is not just another date on a calendar. It is a portal, a threshold between what was and what will be. John 10:9 records Jesus saying, "I am the gate. Whoever enters through me will be saved." Do you see how today is a gate moment for your spirit? To walk through is to step into alignment. To ignore it is to remain locked in old rooms, breathing stale air that was never meant for you anymore. So rise, chosen one. This is your invitation to release. This is your call to protect the sanctuary of your soul. This is your doorway into clarity and breakthrough. Rise, for the past cannot hold you unless you choose to chain yourself. Rise, for heaven has set a new rhythm over your life. Rise, because the 21st of September will not simply pass by. It will either crown you or confine you, depending on how you choose. Through this moment, you either cling to your old self with its weight of habits and fears, or you step into a renewed version of who you were always meant to be. The choice is yours, but the consequences reach farther than you imagine. Deuteronomy 30:19 declares, "This day I call the heavens and the earth as witnesses against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life." Do you see how every decision today carries the gravity of eternity? Winners understand that one aligned choice on a day like this can alter the trajectory of an entire season. That is why they treat this day not as ordinary, but as sacred, as though heaven itself is watching. And indeed, it is. If your spirit feels restless, if you sense the tremor of something vast moving in the unseen, trust it. Do not dismiss that stirring as imagination. It is confirmation. Amos 3:7. Surely the sovereign Lord does nothing without revealing his plan to his servants, the prophets. Could it be that your restlessness is revelation? Heaven's announcement to your spirit before the world even notices. And when the shift happens, those around you may not understand. They may question you, resist you, or mock what they cannot see. But winners do not live for the understanding of men. They live for the alignment of their soul with divine will. So on this day, guard your peace. Protect your energy. Pay attention to the signs that others miss. And above all, trust that if you were drawn here, it is because heaven is summoning you to rise higher than ever before. Winners are not chosen at random. They are chosen because they are willing to separate from the crowd, to walk the narrow path that few dare to tread. Matthew 7:14 reminds us, "But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it." Will you be counted among the few, or will you drown among the many? Every single shift in your life, every obstacle that felt unbearable, every delay that frustrated you, even the silence of those you thought would never abandon you, none of it was meaningless. They were markers, signals from the divine, shaping a road not for the faint of heart, but for the chosen. Think of the sculptor. Every strike of the chisel may appear destructive, yet it is the only way the masterpiece emerges. In the same way, each trial carved away what you could not carry into the next season. Have you recognized how even your disappointments were divine tools of preparation? History gives us vivid witnesses. The Mexican painter Frida Kahlo, though plagued with lifelong pain, once wrote, "At the end of the day, we can endure much more than we think we can." Her suffering became the soil where her art bloomed, leaving a legacy of resilience that still inspires the broken-hearted. She teaches us that even pain, if embraced and not wasted, can prepare us for extraordinary purposes. But let us also not forget the cautionary tale of a villain, King Belshazzar of Babylon, who in arrogance drank from the sacred vessels stolen from God's temple. That night, the mysterious handwriting appeared on the wall: Min, Mene, Tekel, Parsin. Daniel interpreted the judgment, and Daniel 5:30 records, that very night Belshazzar, king of the Babylonians, was slain. His downfall was not because he lacked power, but because he clung to arrogance and desecration when he should have chosen reverence. Will you learn from him or repeat his ruin? Separation is necessary. You cannot elevate while clutching the same weights that once dragged you down. Eagles do not soar with stones tied to their wings. Ships cannot sail, carrying anchors on deck. And chosen ones cannot rise while gripping relationships, habits, or fears that heaven has already commanded them to release. Hebrews 12:1 instructs, "Let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles." The question is, will you? So rise. Chosen one, rise above the voices that misunderstand you. Rise above the old self that begs to stay. Rise, because the crown waiting ahead cannot be worn by the person you used to be. Heaven has summoned you to the narrow way, to the higher place, to the weight of destiny. The 21st of September is not just another date. It is a summons. Rise and answer it. When a rocket launches, it must eventually release its boosters at a certain height. If it clings to what was once useful, it will never break through the atmosphere. Hebrews 12:1 reminds us, "Let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles." In the same way, the connections, habits, and distractions you have already outgrown cannot accompany you into the next level of your destiny. What once supported you has now served its purpose. If you hold on too long, the very things that once elevated you will now become the weight that keeps you bound. Have you considered how tragic it would be for a rocket, designed for the heavens, to burn out in the lower skies because it refused to let go? This season is about clarity. The signs are everywhere. Conversations you once enjoyed now feel heavy and draining. People you used to seek comfort from may suddenly leave you exhausted instead of refreshed. Even environments you once thrived in, places that once felt safe and familiar, now feel strangely out of rhythm, as though you've outgrown the soil in which you were planted. This is not punishment. It is transformation. 2 Corinthians 5:17 declares, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old has gone. The new is here." Just as a tree in spring cannot hold on to its dead leaves from winter, your soul cannot carry yesterday's attachments into tomorrow's calling. Do you sense how even your restlessness is proof of growth? Your spirit is expanding, your frequency rising. And when your inner frequency rises, everything that cannot match it naturally falls away. It is the law of resonance. Only what vibrates at the same pitch can stay in harmony. But here is where many stumble and fail the test. Instead of embracing what is falling away, they chase after it. They beg people to remain who were never meant to walk into their future. They cling to routines that no longer nourish them because the unknown feels terrifying. Isaiah 41:10 reassures you, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God." Will you trust the unknown, or will you chain yourself to what heaven is trying to remove? But you, yes, you who are still listening now, are different. You are being asked to embrace the shift with grace and without fear, because the truth is, you cannot lose what is truly meant for you. Job 42:2 says, "I know that you can do all things. No purpose of yours can be thwarted." If a door closes, it is because the hallway beyond it is no longer aligned with your journey. If a relationship fades, it is because its lesson is complete. If silence surrounds you, it is because heaven is preparing to speak louder than ever before. Could it be that the emptiness you feel is not absence, but divine space being carved out for a new blessing? This is why solitude matters so deeply in this season. Solitude is not emptiness, it is alignment. It is in the quiet where the whispers of destiny become clear. It is in the stillness where divine instructions are revealed. Winners understand this principle. Not every silence must be filled, and not every loneliness must be feared. Silence is like fertile soil. Though it looks barren, beneath the surface roots are being nourished. Psalm 46, dies declaris. Be still, and know that I am God. Do you hear the urgency in those words, not as suggestion, but as command? Art and literature have echoed this truth. In Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, the most haunting passages are not in the crashing notes, but in the silences between them. Where the listener feels the weight of the unseen, so too, your silence carries the hidden symphony of heaven. Will you rush to fill it with noise? Or will you let it reveal the music only your spirit can hear? And so, chosen one, the 21st of September is not just another date. It is the breaking of old boosters, the falling of dead leaves, the silence before the divine symphony swells. Guard your solitude. Protect your atmosphere. Trust the shift. Rise. Because the heavens are calling. Rise. Because silence today is preparation for sound tomorrow. Rise. Because your crown awaits in the next level. It is in these moments when even the air feels heavier, as if creation itself is holding its breath, that the universe begins to reveal who truly belongs to your future. You may already have sensed subtle signs, dreams that do not feel random but more like encrypted messages, sudden changes in your mood when certain people enter the room, or the way your body seems to reject conversations that once felt comfortable but now drain your spirit. This is not a coincidence. It is alignment, speaking louder than words. John T. Suvoktu affirms, "My sheep listen to my voice, I know them, and they follow me." Could it be that even your restlessness is the voice of heaven guiding you? And if so, how dangerous would it be to ignore it and treat these moments as ordinary? When the air thickens, the spirit is often whispering something weightier than usual. Do you dare to pause and listen? Every soul carries what can be called an energy signature, a resonance that influences not only themselves, but all they encounter. In the language of physics, it is like frequency interference. Two signals either harmonize into music or clash into static, and as your own vibration rises, not every frequency can harmonize with you. Some will create discomfort, confusion, even conflict, not because you are wrong, but because you are ascending. Others will attempt, consciously or unconsciously, to dim your light. Matthew 5:14 declares, "You are the light of the world." A town built on a hill cannot be hidden, but have you noticed how often those in darkness try to cover what they cannot extinguish? They are unsettled, not by who you are, but by what you remind them they have neglected. That is why rising will often make you misunderstood, because your presence itself is a mirror. This is why discernment is vital right now. Not every smile hides pure intentions. Not every familiar voice deserves access to your sacred space. You are being called to create boundaries, not walls of fear, but thresholds of wisdom. Think of a cathedral's architecture. Its stained glass windows filter the light, letting through brilliance while keeping out the storm. In the same way, your spiritual boundaries filter what can and cannot enter your inner sanctuary. Do you realize that setting boundaries is not rejection, but sacred design? Proverbs 4:23 warns, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Boundaries are not selfish. They are a declaration that your spirit is holy ground, and what is holy must never be handled carelessly. If God builds walls around his temple, should you not also build walls around your soul? Modern voices echo this truth as well. The Brazilian novelist Paulo Coelho once said, "When you say yes to others, make sure you are not saying no to yourself." His words remind us that discernment is not selfishness, it is stewardship of the soul, and stewardship is holy work. Winners understand this. They do not grant access to anyone who drains their essence, for they know their energy is the currency of their destiny. But how many today bankrupt their spirit by giving it away cheaply to those who have no reverence for it? If you allow unworthy voices to shape your path, do you not risk silencing the very voice of God in you? To preserve your calling, you must learn the art of divine stewardship, even if it costs you temporary companionship. Boundaries, therefore, are not evidence of isolation, but of wisdom. In psychology, they are the framework of identity. In music, they are the rests between notes that give melody its shape. In battle, they are the pauses that let a warrior breathe before striking again. Silence, too, is a boundary. Ecclesiastes 3:7 reminds us, a time to be silent and a time to speak. Will you honor your silence? Or will you let others pull words out of you before heaven releases them? If a general reveals his strategy too early, he hands victory to the enemy. Likewise, if you break your silence too soon, you risk forfeiting blessings that are still forming. Silence is not emptiness, it is sacred incubation. Every seed grows in darkness before it bursts into life. Could your silence today be the womb of your tomorrow? And so, chosen one, you are standing in a sacred moment. The atmosphere is weighted because heaven is weighing your discernment. You cannot walk into your next season unguarded. You cannot elevate without boundaries. You cannot expect clarity while allowing noise to crowd your inner temple. 1 Peter 5-8 warns, be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. This is not to make you fearful, but to awaken you. The roar of the lion is loud, but the whisper of God is louder for those who are still enough to hear it. Will you drown in the roar, or will you discern the whisper? The answer lies not in what surrounds you, but in how fiercely you guard what is within. Rise, therefore. Rise and set your boundaries. Rise and protect your inner light. Rise, because what is ahead requires the full strength of your spirit, untouched by the draining grip of what no longer belongs. The 21st of September is not merely a date, it is a threshold. Cross it with discernment, or risk losing the crown meant for you. And if you truly hear this call, do not delay. Boundaries today will become wings tomorrow. Silence today will become clarity tomorrow. Obedience today will become victory tomorrow. Think of a seed buried deep within the earth, hidden, unseen, pressed down by soil. It appears forgotten, yet in order for it to sprout, it must remain protected. Too much exposure, too much interference, and the fragile process of growth will be stunted. You are that seed right now, covered in divine soil, guarded in silence by the hand of God. John 12:24 declares, very truly I tell you, unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds. Could it be that your silence, your hiddenness, is not death but preparation for multiplication? This is why certain connections are breaking, why silence now feels louder than any voice, why you feel the pull away from the crowd. In this solitude, something extraordinary unfolds. You begin to hear, not only with your ears, but with your soul, subtle nudges, divine whispers, the unshakable knowing that a higher power is guiding each step. Isaiah 30:21 promises, whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you, saying, this is the way, walk in it. Have you noticed how your intuition seems to accelerate, warning you faster, guiding you, claire, pointing toward roads you never considered. That is not your imagination, it is divine communication, sharpening your discernment. But here lies the challenge. Will you obey? How many have heard the whisper of God and still turned aside because the narrow path looked too risky? Too many hear. Too many recognize the signs, but continue down the wrong road because it feels safer. Yet the chosen are not called to safety, they are called to destiny. Joshua 9 commands. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Destiny often feels uncomfortable at first. It demands courage when fear seems easier. This is why isolation is not punishment but preparation. When you are alone, you are cleansed of distraction. When you step away from the noise, your motives are purified. When you guard your energy, you create space for divine wisdom to pour in. Could it be that what feels like loss is actually God's pruning so you may bear more fruit? Some of you listening right now have wondered why friendships feel different. Why gatherings that once sparked joy now leave you drained. Why even family conversations feel heavier than before. You are not broken. You are not antisocial. You are awakening. Romans 12 says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Awakening always creates distance before it creates clarity. Just as dawn separates night from day, awakening separates your old patterns from your new identity. The very spaces you once called familiar may now feel foreign, because your spirit is no longer content with shadows. History gives us living testimony. The South African leader Nelson Mandela, after 27 years in prison, declared, I never lose. I either win or learn. He endured isolation, misunderstanding, and loss. Yet his solitude prepared him to carry a vision larger than himself. His hidden years were not wasted. They were the soil that produced freedom for a nation. His life shows us that sometimes solitude is not a cage, but a training ground. Yet there are also warnings. Think of King Herod Agrippa the First, the ruler who sought to persecute the early church. Acts 12:23 records, immediately, because Herod did not give praise to God, an angel of the Lord struck him down, and he was eaten by worms and died. His downfall was not sudden, it was the harvest of arrogance and pride. He heard the praises of people, but instead of discerning the divine, he exalted himself. What was meant to be a throne became his grave. Will you walk Mandela's path of refinement or Herod's path of ruin? Awakening is like walking through a forest before sunrise. At first the path is unclear, the air thick, your steps cautious, but as the light rises, you see more clearly. The shadows that once terrified you reveal themselves as nothing more than branches, stones, and trees. Fear dissolves in the light of revelation. Psalm 119:105 affirms, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Will you keep walking until dawn? Or will you turn back in the darkness? And so, chosen one, hear this truth. Your solitude is not abandonment. It is the womb of destiny. Your silence is not emptiness. It is the soil of transformation. Your distance is not rejection. It is God's hand pulling you higher. The 21st of September is not just another day. It is a threshold. Rise, because the soil is ready to break. Rise, because the whispers are waiting to be obeyed. Rise, because the crown is already being shaped for your head. Branches, stones, shadows, nothing more. What once frightened you is now revealed for what it truly is. This is your life right now. The light of awakening is rising, stretching across the horizon of your soul. And soon you will see with clarity what is real and what was only illusion. Do not fear this transition. Isaías 60, 1 declares, Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. The people leaving your life are not being stolen, they are being reassigned. The silence pressing around you is not a void, it is a sanctuary. The waiting that feels endless is not wasted time, it is divine timing. And divine timing has never been late. Every moment of stillness is working on your behalf, shaping your foundation, strengthening your resolve, preparing you for the calling that has always been yours. Just as rivers carve canyons slowly but surely, so your waiting is chiseling depth into your spirit. But here is the question: will you honor the stillness, or will you rush ahead and miss what it was designed to give you? Lamentations 3:25 says, "The Lord is good to those whose hope is in him, to the one who seeks him." Do you not see how your stillness is not emptiness, but the very stage on which heaven is building endurance in you, now more than ever? You must guard your spirit. Every conversation carries energy. Every presence in your life either plants seeds of growth or seeds of doubt. Ask yourself, what is being planted in me by the company I keep? If the answer does not align with your destiny, you already know the action to take. Separation is not cruelty, it is obedience. The eagle, when storm clouds gather, smaller bears hill. But the eagle rises above the storm, using the very winds others fear as the lift to ascend. So too must you rise, separating yourself from what clings to the ground. Proverbs 13:20 warns, "Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm." Which path will you take, clinging to the ground with sparrows or rising into clarity with eagles? This journey is not about cutting people off in anger. It is about stepping into such alignment with your higher purpose that only what is pure, uplifting, and true can remain. Everything else will naturally fall away. And yes, it will hurt. Yes, you may feel lonely, but loneliness and solitude are not the same. Loneliness is the absence of people. Solitude is the presence of God. Psalm 16:11 proclaims, "You make known to me the path of life. You will fill me with joy in your presence, with eternal pleasures at your right hand." Can you see the difference? Loneliness empties you. Solitude fills you with what cannot be stolen. In that presence, everything you thought you lacked is restored. Strength is returned. Clarity sharpens. Peace surrounds. Love expands. These treasures are not found by chasing external approval. They are unlocked only when you dare to walk with the divine in silence. Think of a forest at dawn, though quiet. Every tree is alive, every root drinking deeply, every leaf turning toward light. So too, in your solitude, your spirit is being nourished in ways unseen. Matthew 6:6 reminds us, "But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father, who is unseen. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you." Art and theatre echo this truth. In Shakespeare's King Lear, the king discovers that when all his false companions are stripped away, it is only in the storm, stripped of illusions, that he begins to see the truth clearly. Likewise, your stripping, your solitude, is not the end of you, but the unveiling of clarity. The world may not understand this season, for they confuse emptiness with loss and silence with defeat. But chosen ones know better. Silence is the womb of revelation. So do not resist this season. Do not fight the urge to step back. And most of all, do not allow guilt to tie you to what you have already outgrown. Hebrews 10:23 urges, "Let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess. For he who promised is faithful. The world may not understand why you walk away from noise, but heaven applauds. Rise. For solitude is your shield. Rise. For silence is your strategy. Rise. For the 21st of September is not just another date. It is the doorway into destiny. Your friends might question. Even family may resist. But you were never chosen to be understood. You were chosen to be transformed. There comes a point in every awakening where you realize that the journey is not just about leaving behind people. It's about leaving behind versions of yourself. The self that was willing to shrink for the comfort of others. The self that ignored red flags just to maintain peace. The self that silenced its own truth because it feared rejection. That self cannot walk with you into the next chapter. The 21st of September is not just a date on the calendar. It is a marker in your spirit. It is the day when your soul cries out for authenticity. When the illusions crack and truth comes rushing in, you may feel it as restlessness, as unease, or even as sudden clarity about who belongs and who doesn't. This clarity is not random. It is divine timing, just as Hebrews 4:12 declares. For the word of God is alive and active, sharper than any double-edged sword. That sword cuts illusions and exposes what cannot remain. Think of your inner journey as the slow but deliberate unveiling of a cathedral dome, each layer peeled back until light floods the hidden chamber. Think about the seasons of the earth. Winter strips the trees bare. Spring allows for growth. Summer flourishes. And autumn releases. Your soul also moves through seasons right now. You are in a season of release. The shedding may be uncomfortable, but without it, the new cannot bloom. A tree does not apologize for dropping leaves, and neither should you apologize for outgrowing circles that no longer feed your spirit. Like the tectonic plates beneath the earth, invisible shifts create mountains in silence. So too are unseen pressures forming the new you. Can you sense the holy tremor beneath your own soul? The universe speaks through synchronicities, repeated numbers, songs that play at just the right moment, dreams that echo with meaning, sudden interruptions to your plans that redirect you elsewhere. None of these are random. They are breadcrumbs from the divine, guiding you toward your true path. Pay attention. The chosen never walk blindly. They walk guided. As Psalm 32, 8 asuresus. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. These patterns are not coincidence. They are the architecture of heaven, whispering in resonant frequencies. Like hidden harmonics in a great symphony, and yet guidance requires trust. Many resist because they want the whole picture before taking the first step. But destiny does not work that way. You are given one step at a time, one confirmation at a time, one door at a time. The path is revealed not to the curious, but to the obedient. This is why patience is essential when it feels like nothing is happening. Everything is happening behind the veil. Just as a physicist knows that subatomic particles shift invisibly before outcomes appear, so does your spirit undergo invisible rearrangements before manifestation. Might the silence you fear actually be the workshop of heaven? You may feel isolated now, but you are not forgotten. You are being hidden for a reason. Diamonds are not displayed in the open field. They are buried deep until the appointed time of discovery. Caterpillars are not seen during transformation. They are cocooned until the moment of flight. And you chosen one, are at that very stage. Even David was hidden in the shepherd's field long before he wore a crown. Do not break the process by rushing. Do not sabotage your future by clinging to the past. The people who once understood you may not understand this version of you. They might label you distant, cold, or changed. And they are right. You have changed. But change is the proof of life. Stagnation is death. John 15:2 reminds us, every branch that does bear fruit he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. Transformation always comes with pruning, with discomfort, with silence. As Pope John Paul II once said, the future starts today, not tomorrow. Will you dare to rise today as the branch that accepts pruning so that abundance may come? And so, chosen ones, the 21st of September is not just an ordinary day. It is the threshold where old versions collapse and the true design of heaven begins to manifest in you. Do not shrink back. Do not delay. Stand up. Step forward and walk into what has already been written for you. The kingdom does not wait for hesitation. This is your call to rise. This is your moment to claim the authenticity heaven prepared for you. Stand. Chosen one, your time has come. If they cannot walk with the living, then let them remain where shadows cling. You were never crafted for the prison of familiarity. You were sculpted for destiny. Scripture reminds us, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. Destiny does not unfold in the comfort of sameness, but in the courage to step into the unknown. That is why protection becomes the watchword of this season. Attacks rarely arrive as marching armies. They slip in as flattery, subtle invitations, or distractions that look harmless yet carry venom. What voices around you carry truth, and which echo the old chains of who you used to be? Each day demands discernment as your shield. The question presses on your soul. Does this choice align with where you are heading? Or does it pull you back to a life already buried? Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. 1 Corinthians 15:33. Isolation, therefore, is not exile. It is purification. Silence is not emptiness. It is sacred space, where divine whispers can rise above the roar of human opinion. Think of Elijah on Mount Horeb. God was not in the earthquake, nor the fire, but in the gentle whisper. 1 Kings 19:12. Could it be that your separation right now is preparing you to hear what no crowd could ever reveal? In that quiet, instructions are given, hidden scrolls rolled out for those willing to wait. These divine blueprints not only direct your choices, they shape your very future. Do not fear the loneliness of the path, for narrow is the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. Matthew 7:14. The true danger lies not in being misunderstood, but in ignoring the holy summons within. Destiny has a rhythm, and when it knocks, hesitation can erase the moment forever. The 21st of September is such a rare alignment. Why does the circle around you feel smaller? Why do old conversations suddenly taste like ash? These are not signs of abandonment, they are signs of refinement. And refinement always requires fire. Think of gold being melted until impurities rise and burn away. He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. He will purify the Levites and refine them like gold and silver. Malachi 3:3. So too must you endure the flames of loneliness, misunderstanding, and release. These fires are not meant to consume you, but to sculpt you into a vessel strong enough for destiny's weight. The 21st of September will not be a punishment, but a purification. a sacred threshold where distractions are silenced, so the whisper of God can be heard clearly. Can you feel that refining heat pressing against your soul even now? Energy is truth before words are spoken. Have you not felt drained after a single short interaction with the wrong person? Smiles can mask envy, praise can cloak hidden doubt. Their presence alone becomes a drag against your momentum. Separation, then, is not cruelty. It is survival. It is the pruning Jesus spoke of in John 15:2. Every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. On September, Isarim verhatst. Your test may come in familiar clothes. A sudden message from someone you left behind. A voice from your past, inviting you back into a cycle. An unexpected crisis pressing against your peace. Will you hold your ground when comfort whispers its lies? History offers both warnings and inspiration. Take, for instance, the life of Václav Havel, the Czech playwright and later president, who once declared, "Hope is not the conviction that something will turn out well, but the certainty that something makes sense regardless of how it turns out." In the silence of prison cells, he refused to surrender his inner clarity. And it was that endurance which later fueled a nation's freedom. In contrast, we remember Demas, once a co-laborer with Paul, who abandoned his mission because he loved this present world. 2 Timothy 4:10. His downfall reminds us that distraction has consequences deeper than chains. It can erase destiny. Which example will your life echo when the test arrives? The 21st of September will be the day. Comfort demands its price. Growth always requires loss. And loss always requires fire. But hear this, destiny waits on the other side of surrender. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua 1-9. Chosen ones, stand tall. Do not shrink back into what is dying. Do not bend to the weight of distraction. Rise, even if it means rising alone. This is the hour to declare, I will not trade destiny for comfort. I will not forfeit tomorrow for the shadow of yesterday. Step boldly, for heaven is waiting on your obedience. That price is approval. That price is familiarity. But the reward is transformation. Every butterfly had to give up crawling. Every eagle had to leave the nest. Every chosen one must walk away from crowds to step into destiny. The silence of this day is not emptiness. It is fullness waiting to be discovered. Just as the ocean hides pearls beneath its crushing depths, so too does silence hold treasures that noise can never reveal. Even the desert, which seems barren, is secretly preparing seeds to bloom after the rain. What looks like loss is actually divine design, reshaping you from within. In silence, you will find visions that words could never give you. In silence, you will hear the echo of your higher self, reminding you of promises you made long before you were born. In silence, you will finally see the map of your life begin to make sense. And yes, it will feel lonely. But loneliness is an illusion. When you realize that the Creator has filled the quiet with His presence, that presence will comfort you, guide you, and empower you. Think of the oak tree. It spends decades deepening its unseen roots before stretching high toward the heavens. In the same way, your hidden seasons are not wasted, but foundational. As Beethoven once wrote in his letters, I will seize fate by the throat. He found music in silence. And you will find destiny in yours. You are not being left alone. You are being prepared in sacred secrecy. Signs will appear more vividly now. Numbers repeating on clocks. Feathers in your path. Sudden moments of déjà vu. Intense dreams that seem too real to ignore. Pay attention. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. The way a river carves valleys over centuries, unseen but unstoppable, so too is the hand of God, shaping your journey through subtle signs. Just as the stars were used by sailors to cross oceans, so will these signs help you navigate the unknown. Even Shakespeare once wrote that there is a tide in the affairs of men which, taken at the flood, leads on to fortune. The 21st of September is your tide. Do not miss it. You are walking on holy ground, and the divine does not leave its chosen without guidance. So when the urge comes to reach out, to distract yourself, to fill the silence, pause. Instead, breathe deeply and listen. Listen to what your heart is saying. Listen to the voice that does not shout but whispers. Listen, because this day is not meant to be wasted in chatter. Just as a sculptor removes excess stone to reveal a hidden figure, the Spirit is chiseling away distractions to uncover your true form. The wind does not need to be seen to be felt. And so it is. With God's presence, it moves quietly, yet reshapes everything it touches. This silence is not your enemy, chosen one. It is your sacred inheritance. It is meant to be remembered as the day you chose alignment over approval, clarity over confusion, and destiny over distraction. And here is where the mystery deepens. The moment you choose silence, you step into a sacred dialogue with the divine. What you silence in the outer world becomes amplified in the inner world. Your intuition sharpens, your awareness heightens, and the subtle messages that were once drowned out by noise now arrive with crystal clarity. This is how destiny works. It never screams for attention. It waits for the one who is willing to quiet the chaos. And that is why so few truly find the path. Many prefer the comfort of voices over the challenge of solitude. Yet think of the caterpillar's cocoon, dark, silent, seemingly lifeless, yet it is the very chamber where wings are born. So it is with you, chosen one. On the 21st of September, embrace stillness as your holy appointment. For in that silence, heaven itself leans in to speak. And so, chosen ones, understand this truth. The 21st of September is not just a date on a calendar, it is a threshold. What happens on this day has the power to either solidify the victory you've just claimed or unravel it. The enemy knows how to whisper doubt right after breakthrough, how to plant fear right after faith, how to pull you back into patterns you already escaped. But this is your call to stand firm. Guard your victory, as a soldier guards the gates of a city. For what you protect today will decide what multiplies tomorrow. Do not let the noise of others distract you. And do not let hidden shadows steal what you have prayed for. Choose silence. Choose alignment. Choose trust. This day will test whether your triumph is temporary or eternal. The decision is yours. But heaven is watching. If this word has spoken to your soul, I invite you, like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and comment below so we know you are walking this journey with us. Write 777 in the comments as your declaration that no force will undo what God has already secured in your life. And if you have subscribed or supported this channel through super thanks, I thank you deeply. If you simply showed up and listened, I thank you just as much, because your presence here is no accident. May the peace of God guard your mind. May His strength anchor your spirit. May His light direct your steps. And may your victory not just remain, but multiply in ways you cannot yet imagine. Blessings to you, chosen ones.